faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter, and believe it or not, it's July 4th, I know. It should be easy for even me to figure out. Anywho, as my one friend puts it, I will try to do a show, and I will try not to make too much racket. I'm sure there's going to be some in the background. I have no clue what I want to talk about. And I'm doing it now because, yes, it's July 4th. My one friend Matt might be going out. Me and him might be going out tonight to do something. Check some fireworks out. I'm not really that keen on going to see them, but I guess it's better than sitting around the house. Yeah, again, I have not much to talk about. That's actually a good thing. I mean, this time I really do mean it, too. And you never know, because somebody might end up talking to me or something, and that could ruin everything. So I had a couple interesting things. I had some work done on my car. I got it back on Friday. Yeah, I believe it was Friday. And it was weird because when I got it back, the place is great, I think. It's a Volkswagen Tiguan. It's a 2012. It looks like it's really good shape, like brand new. I got it used. It was in good shape. I have a tendency to clean things up and make it look a little bit better. So anyway, I get it back, and the first time, it's been the last two times I've had work done there. Like, not even work, just maintenance. You know, your general maintenance that you need to get done. And for some reason, the second to the last time, they actually scratched up my mag wheel in the car. It was all scratched up, and I noticed it before I even left the parking lot of the Volkswagen dealer. It's Jim Wynn in Norristown. And they fixed it right away, so I was like, okay, no problem. This time I get in the car, I don't, for some reason, I have my father with me. I don't turn on the radio, and, you know, there was something wrong with the radio this time, the speaker, one speaker on the passenger side. So that night it was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up before I go to work. It was Friday night, and it was like, okay, I'm not going to listen to the radio. I'm going to leave a couple voicemails. You don't listen to what's going on otherwise. You know, you just call. And I actually don't use the internal speakers on the phone. I use the one on the phone itself because I have Bluetooth, but apparently one of my friends complains it sounds horrendous and he can't hear anything. It sounds like garbage. So I was like, okay, I'll just call directly on the phone while I'm driving, which you're not supposed to do. So anyway, I didn't check until I got done work. And it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm leaving work, or 20 of 1. I'm leaving work. I turn on the radio and I listen to it. And there's this crackling noise on my speaker. And it was like, okay, this is not normal. This did not do this when I left my car a week before to get it fixed. So something was wrong. Something they screwed up. And it really pissed me off. So I called them like that night. You know, it was already closed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. But I made sure to get a voicemail right away. And I said, listen, I'm not making this up. I had my father. He listened to it. He heard the crackling going in and out. It's like, okay, either my eardrum is broken or this is seriously an issue. So he heard it a couple times, not quite the same way I did, but my hearing has actually gone a little bit. I lost a little bit of it from all these concerts I've been going through the last couple of years and not wearing earplugs. So if I can hear it with even a slight loss of hearing, it's there. Trust me, I'm not making it up. And, I have very sensitive ears now, too, because of, I can pick up, for some reason, even though I lost a little hearing, I can definitely pick up distortion right away, a distortion in the audio. So, I told these people, I said, listen, all I do is listen to talk shows and podcasts that I do. I don't listen to very much music. I will once in a while, but I don't blast it either. So bottom line is I didn't break the speaker. You kind of did. I just want to let you know. And there was a little bit slight scratch on the one side of the door on one part of the car. And I was like, I really don't care about that scratch. It's frivolous compared to the speaker being broken. But the speaker is an issue for me. So they said, oh, and it was Friday. So they said, I called them Saturday morning. And they said, oh, you're going to have to wait till Monday. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I'll soak up the cost, which it was a little costly, and I'll get it fixed, and I'll make sure I get better speakers that the next time this won't be a problem where I will hear this, I found out that they, and not admit to it, that they were blasting speakers and end up blowing out a speaker on the car. So I went over to the Best Buy. This guy I can't remember his name. He did an incredible job over King of Prussia. It had taken like 2 hours, but I said, you know what? Put in there something that's not going to blow or cause any distortion or any problems with the speaker. Just put in what you think is would be best. I told him I listen to talk radio a lot, basically talk radio shows, and in podcasts, but and some music. So hey, I want something that sounds really good, in the low area of low volume. I forget what you call that, lows and highs. I want it to be as clear as possible. So I said, you name what you think would be the best, and I'll go with it. So I did. It was a couple $100, not really what I wanted to spend. I'd rather have this covered, but I don't trust Volkswagen. And if they fix it, I'm afraid they will do the same thing again. So I said, hey, I want something in here. If they decide to turn on the radio and blast it, they're not going to blow out the speakers. The guy, really young, nice guy, real nice young guy. He told me what he recommended. He was surprised. I said, just put it in. I'll worry about it later because I got a Best Buy card. I got 6 months to pay it off. So I went with his advice. He steered me right. I'm not going to say he didn't, but I think he really did because I hear the difference in the speakers. They sound much better. And I don't hear this distortion in the door panel of the one speaker that got blown. Now, and I asked him on Monday, what was that, yesterday? I said, hey, one of your guys blew my speaker. And I was like, but I already got the problem fixed. And then it was like, well, we can't do anything about it. I was like, yeah, I kind of figured this was going to happen, but I just didn't trust him. The thing is, the manager was trying to say, department manager for Volkswagen, he said, well, they would never do anything like that. They don't, they're fixing the car or not working on the radio. It was like, well, that's funny because when I got in the car, it was turned to a radio station. I have not listened to one radio station in ages. I mean, it's been years since I've actually physically listened to a radio show or a radio station. So, hello. I always keep my settings on Bluetooth for media from my phone. And even my radio, if I listen to regular radio, I listen it to through my phone, which is it's an Apple phone with Verizon, because I got unlimited unlimited internet. So why would I not? Because it's like satellite radio, where I'm paying a flat rate for not only my phone service but also to listen to whatever I want when it sounds much clearer than what you're going to get over the airwaves. So again, I don't listen to regular radio. So it was like, dude, you're beating a dead horse by telling me that your men don't listen to the radios. They do. And they also obviously are very reckless when they take the cars and pull them out of the garage. I mean, I found that when I scratched up the hubcap. The mag had nothing to do with what they were looking at. But how did it get all scuffed up? How do you explain that? So I don't want to get in a big argument. The guy kept on shaking my hand and apologizing. It's like, no offense. I love the way you guys do the work, but you're a little bit reckless. Your men can be a little reckless on the cars. That's the bottom line. So just letting you know. That's what I told him. I said, I'm letting you know. Alrighty. Okay. So I got that out. So anyway, I got what's called JBL 600C. I forget, but they're really good speakers. And at first I was a little leery because, again, it was like, I think it was a few $100 to get this. The maintenance was it was like $50 per half hour. And I was like, well, did this guy kind of overcharge me? So I looked how you would install a pair of speakers, and these weren't like the exact fit. for my car. I have a 2012 Tiguan. So I said, yeah, there had to be some modifications to actually fit these speakers in that he recommended. So I looked it up online, I looked on YouTube, and I looked at what was involved, and it was like, oh my God, this guy not only fit the speakers in properly, but he also made sure they fit flush. You don't see a thing, no marks, no cuts, no alterations to the car. The car looks like the way you would get it off the showroom floor, meaning that he didn't cut into the covering grills or anything in the doors. Everything is completely hidden. Everything was properly installed, and it was not an easy task. It's something that a normal person would not be able to do. So it was like, oh my God, this guy did an incredible job. I feel bad, that I even thought in my head that maybe it was a little overpriced, but for what he did and the way he kept it clean, and the area he works at, the Best Buy store, was very clean. So the only thing that raised a red flag for me a little bit was I looked online at other people talking about, I got some audio upgrades put on my car at Best Buy, and it wasn't the one in King of Prussia, though. It was ones in other states where they said these people were very unprofessional. They actually end up putting it in wrong. The speakers, they put speakers wrong. One guy complained from another state. He said that Best Buy, whoever worked on his car, end up using, I guess he used too powerful a speaker, drew too much amperage, and somehow he claimed it blew out his battery. And it's like, oh my God, I'm very anal. I'm very petrified. Like, did I get some kid who didn't know what he was doing when he put in the new speakers to replace the broken ones? And it was like, no, he actually knew what he was doing. Very professional the way he sounded. He kept his area clean, and he did a very, like a very meticulous job, or whatever you want to say, on how he stuck, these new speakers. And again, you can't even tell he did any work. He did that clean of a job. He showed me the old speakers. He gave me the box that the new ones came in. He says he talked me into, which I didn't mind, for $25. I got a 4-year warranty, and he says, even after your warranty's done, if you decide there's a problem, you got a lifelong guaranteed from Best Buy that if anything happens to those speakers or cause any damage, you come right back in here. We won't charge you, and we'll fix this problem. It was like, you know what? It's worth it. It is worth it. And these are heavy-duty speakers. They're not paper cones. These are actually some type of material that's anything besides that. The sound is a lot clearer. They won't get damaged as easily, and I was happy. Now, I've gone off on this subject for the last 10 or 13 minutes, but I'm sorry about that. Maybe 10 minutes. But it was something that really just kind of, I wanted to not ruin my whole weekend with, being involved of getting this straightened out. Now, tomorrow, because a friend of mine, I told him I sent him a copy of it. I was trying to get some testing done for work to show that I have, not anybody cares about this, but getting certain testing done, which is very expensive, to figure out where my weaknesses are for me having a learning disability. So here, it's taken about 2 or so months to get this paperwork to go through. It finally had gotten cleared from the state that, hey, we will give you these tests. Don't worry about it. I think they may be covered. If not, it's going to cost me almost $1,000. But you know what? If I would get the same precise tests done, I'd have to go down to Philadelphia. Like right now, these tests, these are psychological evaluation tests. They determine your IQ level, what you're capable of doing as far as work, your test skills, ability, and things like that. It's different types of tests. It's basically a personality test of some sort, an IQ test as well, and some other things. That same test, I would have to travel down to Philadelphia. I would have to take a lot of time off work because this test takes quite a few hours. You can't do it all in one day. Sometimes you have to do it for over a period of time. I'd have to travel down the city. I'd have to take time off of work, which this way I still will, but I'm not going to be traveling down the city. I'll be traveling down the street down to Norristown. And the same test would cost about $2,000 or $3,000. So $1,000, a lot of money, but it is an insurance policy on my job. If they say, hey, you know what? we don't see any problems. I've been at the same job that I work at now for about 14 years, and now all of a sudden they're making a big issue out what I do. This is just insurance that, would protect my job, protect me as a person, that I won't get let go for some nonsense reason. That's why tomorrow I'm going to be working on that when I don't get up late, go to work. It's going to be a short week because I'll have something else to talk about probably later on this week, because Friday I am taking off from work to go to the Keswick Theater to go see, Mystery Science 3000, folks, from the new series. They're actually doing a tour, and I actually paid for a get-together with those people. And if you're from the area of Philadelphia, in Phoenixville, which is not far from my house, we actually have coming up the Blobfest in the next couple weeks as well. In addition to that, I will have another thing to talk about, because on a week from this weekend, the following weekend, I have a meet and greet with Corey Feldman. I think it's Corey Feldman, because he does a little bit of music and stuff. I mean, he's a quirky guy, but I would love to meet him, and I would be willing to do a trip up to Reading. Otherwise, I would have to go down to Philly again. Speaking about Philly, I don't know if you know about this, folks. I didn't know about this. I honestly didn't. That there is, if you live in the Philly area, there is a Broadway of Philadelphia. So they show a lot of the plays and musicals that you go up to New York for. You can actually just travel 40 minutes instead of 3 hours away if you live in outskirts of Philly like I do, which I did not know that. So I've already seen it. I don't need to see it again. I saw this play years ago called Wicked. I know it's been around forever. But here, Philadelphia is one of the places that actually have the Broadway of Philadelphia. Now, the only reason I mention that, because I want to go up to New York with a friend, or by myself if I have to eventually before it goes away, was this play called 1984. Now, if the Broadway of Philadelphia would pick that up, I would even think twice about getting a ticket. I would get one and go down, because the city I can travel down to, park my car in a decent spot, and I wouldn't have to go as far. Otherwise, New York, I got to get a bus from Norristown, from around where I live, up to up to New York. It's not bad. Lets you off, I think, at Port Authority, and you just walk a couple blocks, you're at Broadway. But it's more of an inconvenience. I like going to New York. I just don't like to waste a whole day doing so. And then you got to wait for the bus and to go back. So anyway, yeah, it's found the whole thing interesting. That's all I wanted to say. I have a few stories. There's been one thing on the news that's been really big on many people's eyes, and I think it's definitely affected the females around here. So maybe I will see if I can find that first, because that's like a little bit more of a darker story anyway. The rest are just kind of ridiculous and stupid stories, but they're fine. They're nothing that harmful. Okay, here we go. This story has actually gone everywhere from Chester County is where it happened in Pennsylvania, where I live. Chester County, this was an incident of road rage. And I'm going to read the one from the Daily Mail, but I mean, it's a local story from where I live. But this hit the UK. It's hit every national news segment. It's become a big thing, and I think this is a bad idea that they're pushing this as far as they are, because it's just really stirred up females. And I've had this situation or experience when me and my brother on Sunday went over the King of Prussia Mall. But let me read this first, where they're very upset, the women. Man 28 wanted for shooting dead an 18-year-old girl in road rage attack, and then fleeing the scene, is arrested, charged with her murder. So he basically turned himself in, by the way. So this guy's name's David Desper, was arrested at his home in Trainer, Pennsylvania at 2 a.m. on Sunday. So I heard he turned himself in. The 28-year-old is accused of murdering 18-year-old Bianca Robson on Wednesday. Police say the pair were both trying to change lanes when he opened fire on her from his truck and shooting her in the head, so she instantly died. Bianca's car was found in the scene in bushes by the side of the road. Authorities labeled her killing the savage, senseless result of desperate road rage. So I've noticed it, actually, that, you publicize this stuff. It was horrible what happened. But I've noticed, even my one brother from D.C., he came home for the weekend. And now here's the situation, though. And I've noticed this. I think women, no offense, a lot of women have this sense of entitlement. And so do certain people that call themselves or consider themselves being minorities. They have this. I heard this terminology from my brother as well, my one from Washington, D.C., where people, certain sets of people now have this sense of entitlement, like they're entitled to things. There's a story I can tell you about that. It was kind of interesting. I heard him talk about. So anyway, we dropped my car off at Best Buy on Sunday, and it was going to take 2 hours. The guy was very, very well informed. He made me feel comfortable. Hey, I know what I'm doing, and he didn't say it in a bad way. He seemed very confident, and don't worry about it. This is not going to be a big deal. I can get it done today, and he did. So we walked from Best Buy, which is by itself, over to the King of Prussia Mall, which is the biggest mall I understand in the United States at this point, probably in the world. It's the hugest mall around the globe, probably at this point. So anyway, we walk across the street. We take a pedestrian walkway across the part of the street. I think it's called Mall Boulevard is the street that goes around. We push the button. It comes up. Okay, it's okay for you to walk. These young girls that were in a car were blowing their horn as we walked the pedestrian walkway when it was our turn to walk across the street. Then my brother got upset. He waved his arms. They were waving their arms back. Then the girls decided to almost run us over with the car. This is a couple days after this incident happened in Chester. So again, you got all these females now. They're feeling like, okay, if you're a guy, I hate to say it, a Caucasian male, which we both are, me and my brother, obviously, that, the white male is, the devil kind of thing. A friend of mine made a joke like that. My friend's brother made this joke online of, we're considered, quote unquote, the white devil. We're the evil person who is keeping and repressing the rest of society. So now, I feel uncomfortable that I'm going to be a walking target thanks to the way the media has just blown this whole thing out of proportion. What happened? It was horrible. But you know what? There is incidents with crimes that are happening every day you never hear anything about. This one, because it was a white male who had shot in the head, which again was horrible. I don't acknowledge, give any positive note on this, who shot a young 18-year-old, black girl, African American, if you want to be PC, in the head for no reason at all. He was just pissed off for her trying to pass him. And that is horrible. But that doesn't give her, when the media and the news, which is the same thing, make something into an overblown story because they have nothing else to talk about. They've exhausted their victimizing everybody from Trump. Now they have a new thing to go on. And it's literally hit globally, this one story in Chester County. And if you live within this area, I even try to tell a friend, it's like a ripple effect. If you live closer to where this incident happened, it is far worse because you got all these people. And I said to him, a friend, I called him, I said, I'm afraid this may turn into like one of these Chicago incidents where you're going to get people so upset that every white male is now going to have to watch out for himself to make sure he doesn't get killed because of everybody, especially women, being angry at white males. And I don't care if you're a white female, because these two girls in the car were two white females, or whatever. It's gotten really out of control now just because I think, this is my opinion, because they're making such a big deal out of what happened, which was horrible. You keep it localized. and you make the issue known, but don't make it into a global disaster, which they have now done with this one story. Again, I feel bad for the family, and I feel bad for this girl. This was horrible what happened. But now this has just got really out of control, this one story. And again, I'm afraid for my life because of these people from the media and press who just they're like scavengers that just like thrive on this stuff, and they blow it out of proportion to an extent it gets everybody upset. And you get the wrong people upset, you're going to cause more incidents to happen. So that's my twist on things, and it got even worse. We were coming back. Thank God it wasn't me and my brother. We got around Oaks, if you're familiar with Pennsylvania. Oaks, Pennsylvania. It wasn't that far from the King of Prussia Mall. We were coming home. My brother noticed it, where there's this woman having road rage with a car in front of her, this woman in the truck. She is forcing this person in front of her by blowing her horn, waving her arms, and almost pushing her SUV into the car in front of her to make this person make a left-hand turn while traffic is still coming. The traffic was still coming, and she was pushing this person to make a left-hand turn when they could not. She got so out of control and so loud and so obnoxious with her driving. When she made the turn, it was down a road on Oaks that was a single lane, double yellow line. She forcibly went around the car in front of her. My brother noticed it. I noticed it. He brought it to my attention. So again, this is what you get when you stir up these people, especially females, who are so convinced by the news that, Trump is a woman hater. He's a misogynist. He hates women, that women are now. We had women stirred up at work because of the news about Trump, that these women were so convinced now that every male was going to rape them for no reason at all. And the one woman who was afraid of this has a granddaughter who was only 5 or 6 years old. And she told me, she says, if any guy tries to rape me or my granddaughter, I'm going to come after them. And it's like, nobody's going to fucking rape you. Where do you get this nonsense from? And it was because of the way they presented this stuff on the news. So again, this story about this incident with this white male shooting this girl in the head has turned into a white on black crime. It's gone way overboard, and now I'm like petrified even to leave my house, that I'm afraid somebody's going to start shooting at me or try to run me over with their car, which I told you, me and my brother experienced that over the King of Prussia Mall, where somebody tried to, these two young white girls were trying to run us over with their car. And yes, we are both Caucasian too, me and my brother. I said this before. So this is what happens when you blow things, once again, out of proportion. You create more problems. You don't make things better, you make it worse. We've had 8 years of this with Barack Obama making things out worse than it really was, creating all these issues, and now we have it again with this story that happened locally, not far from where I live, and now I'm just petrified. And I think it's going to, again, become a ripple effect. When you drop a pebble into the water and it causes the ripples, it's gonna get spread out, and it's gonna become far worse from this one incident. What was horrible, this one, death that shouldn't have happened is going to turn into multiple deaths because of stirring up the pot, stirring people up that are already just high-strung from 8 years of Obama stirring things up. And I can see this happening. I'm telling you that right now. So anyway, that was the worst of my stories. I actually got half an hour into the story, so which is surprising. And anyway, on a lighter note, this was kind of interesting. I kind of threw a couple stories in the mix so I'd have something to talk about. This was from BloodyDisgusting.com. And if you're a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan, there was at one point, because of the success of Freddy versus Jason, they were going to add to the franchise of Nightmare on Elm Street a reality show, which never had taken place, by the way. Photos surfaced from an unaired reality show, Nightmare on Elm Street, Real Nightmares. It says a lost part of Elm Street history has finally been unearthed. What you may not know, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is that it is almost spawned a reality competition series in the wake of Freddy vs. Jason. Everything I just said. It was supposed to be on CBS with Robert Englund, but it never actually happened. So that was kind of cool. By the way, talking about different shows, I've been buying some older shows that I grew up with when I was like a little tyke. And once I'm done watching them, I'll get rid of them. Like Mary, what was it? No. Carol Burnett. That show is really good. It was like right when I was born, the year I was born, she came on the air. I think that was also CBS. All in the Family I just ordered. Laverne and Shirley. And Three's Company. There are shows I just loved when I was a kid. I didn't watch all of them. Hogan's Heroes I actually went through. Those are all shows that were great growing up. They're nostalgic now to me because I grew up with these shows. They kind of molded me into what I, enjoyed watching, was what I saw on TV. There was a couple other shows. But I actually am sitting down when I have the time and I watch these. And they're really fun to watch. I just lost my train of thought. But hey, here is a story. I have it right now. I'm going to read it. This is really cool, by the way. This just happened not too long ago. I didn't know he was that old. A name I grew up with, which is Kirk Douglas. He's 100 years old? I didn't know that. Hollywood legend Kirk Douglas, 100, takes a relaxed stroll in Beverly Hills following the success of his second memoir. Again, I didn't realize he had turned 100 years old. He does look pretty, decrepit or whatever you want to say, but that man has made many, many excellent films. So, just wanted to mention that in my mix of stories. Kirk Douglas had turned 100 years old. By the way, there was a funny story I had to mention. It's a video on Facebook. Oh, I remember the other thing I was going to say, but I'm going to get this out real quick. It's titled Locals have reported the food vendor to the police because of what it consists of. It's on this link on Facebook called Lad Bible. There are cakes shaped like penises that you eat. So they're like literally these cakes that look like a man's penis. And it's very funny. There's a video, and they put, what do you call it on top? They're like pastry cakes shaped like a three-dimensional penis that, yes, you do stick in your mouth, and you do eat it. So it's pretty funny. One of the shows I forgot I started talking about, I lost my train of thought, was I remember when I was younger and we first got HBO years ago, my parents and I. And it was this, they showed this one movie, my mom loved it. I actually enjoyed it a lot. It was called Swamp Thing, based upon Marvel Comics, I think it was. Swamp Thing is some type of superhero, so to speak, or vigilante. I don't know really what he was. So anyway, Swamp Thing turned into a second film, which was really good. Well, no, it wasn't that good. The first one was excellent. It was funny. It was a little quirky. The second one, though, was not so good. It had Heather Locklear as Swamp Thing's lead-in lady. The first one had how do you say her name? Adrienne Barbeau or something? I can't get that name correct. So anyway, yeah, it was like, the first one was excellent. I liked it. The second one was kind of really dumb. So why you mentioning Swamp Thing? Well, they made a TV series I never knew it existed. And apparently it was out back on cable in USA about 17 years ago, something like that. 20-some years ago, actually. Wait, because it was 1990 when it came out. So here I got wind of it because it was on either the station of Logo, because Logo shows it's a gay network, but they show a lot of old classic shows, which do include All in the Family. Believe it or not. They show some really good old TV shows, and they marathon them. So anyway, it was either Logo that was showing. They show Three's Company, which I ended up buying that now because I wanted to check it out. But yeah, they show some really good old classic shows, but it was either Logo or MeTV, Memorable Entertainment, actually was showing Swamp Thing, the TV series. I was like, that was a TV series? I didn't know that. Now, it doesn't sound like anything special. It was a half-hour show. It kind of reminds me of that whole feel when I watched, and then had gotten rid of it, was a show called Friday the 13th, the TV series, which had nothing to do with, Friday the 13th franchise. But it kind of had that feel as being a serial, a TV series on Swamp Thing. Now, the thing that made me more interested, though, because it sounded like the same actor who played Swamp Thing in the movies. So it was like, wow, that sounds like the same guy. So, but the thing was, the movies were done in 1980s, I think. Yeah, it was like early 80s. So it was almost 10 years after the fact, or almost, not quite, that, yeah, they got the same actor to come back, and he actually did do the TV series. And it was on for 3 seasons. It was on USA again. Now, they said the serial, they actually started out trying to go with the comic book theme, where the stories were going to go, but then they decided right away we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to broaden like who we bring in as far as celebrity guests on the TV show, which they did. And they said that for that 3 years that Swamp Thing, the TV series, did rather well. Now, one of the people was, I'm going to get his name wrong, Wachovia Phoenix and River Phoenix. I didn't realize this. They have a sister who she guest star as a little girl in one of the episodes. So it was like, wow. I didn't know the Phoenix family had a sister, but she was in one of the episodes. She did actually a rather good job. The episodes are a little quirky. They're definitely very dated. They do follow the serial pattern that it's, the main characters, including the character and actor of Swamp Thing, the same actor who played it, actor / stuntman. So you can pick those up for like $10 for the first 2 seasons. And I think if you buy it elsewhere, because it's put out by Shout TV. So if you buy it through Shout, they're going to charge you $30 for the first 2 seasons, and or season and a half, and then they divided it up to 4 box sets, but then they released them as 2 box sets with 8 discs and all the episodes. So I tracked them down on eBay, where I actually got the entire series on 2 different box sets for like $20 altogether. It was $9 for the first one and like $8 for the second one, something like that. And they're all brand new. So, yeah, I'm kind of anxious I actually marathoned the first season because they're half-hour episodes. Generally a first season means 12 episodes. So it didn't take that long, but they're actually interested. I'm not going to say they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever watched. But if you like that nostalgic old TV kind of style shows of, 80s and 90s, this was definitely entertaining. And again, the fact that they got the movie actor to play in the TV show made it just that much more for me to want to watch it. So that's why. So Swamp Thing, I would definitely recommend as a good show. And it's cheap, so, I'm trying not to add too many more stories because I can always find something new to read. Oh, somebody's poking it. Can you close that door, please? Thank you. So, yeah, somebody is actually trying to interrupt my show. My mother. I knew that was going to happen. I thought I locked the door. So, yeah, that was really good. I actually wanted to watch a couple more episodes if I can, because they're really short. They're like 30 minutes. I think even without commercials, they were pretty close. They didn't put too much in there, but they said the show did really well. I guess maybe because of maybe they didn't need to advertise it that much to make money off the show. Maybe they made it off of other endorsements. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely recommend that. Let's see. There was something, actually, it was kind of interesting. I didn't notice, and I made sure I put it up, but I guess I put it down. I had taken it down. I was listening. I actually re-listened to it again today because I didn't listen to it too closely yesterday. A guy named Ken Matthews, he covered Rush's show yesterday. He's brand new as a guest host. But why it interests me, oh, and by the way, yesterday was my father's birthday, but Ken Matthews, he's actually from around here. He is a Harrisburg/Philadelphia host who has his own show, obviously, because they get guest hosts of different guys, specifically Mark Stein, Mark Bellin, generally, maybe once in a while somebody else, but generally Rush is very, and I guess Bo Snerdley, they decide on who is going to cover Rush's show when he's out. So it was somebody they said brand new they got, and it was this guy, Ken Matthews. Now, again, they say he's on 1210 WHP HT. What am you say that again? Because I used to listen to that station until I'll have to listen. He's a really good host, too. WPHT, Philadelphia. So he covered Rush's show yesterday. And again, he's from, it says WHP 580 Harrisburg, and he's also on 1210 PHT, yes, I did get that right, the Philadelphia conservative radio station. So I was actually really surprised. He was a really good host. So I had to listen to it again today. Ken Matthews. And this will definitely help his ratings because now he covered Rush Limbaugh's show as well. So I just wanted to point that out. I will probably try to listen to some more later. I did put some funny stuff on my Facebook page for those who would check it out. Nobody ever does, but I'm just saying. One was they did a parody, Carol Burnett did on one of her shows, and I didn't get that far yet because I'm watching her earlier shows. She did a parody on Star Trek where all the crew, all the males on the crew, meaning Spock and Kurt, go through a, a hormone change in space. That all the men turn into women and all the women turn into men. And Carol Burnett did this parody on that, and it was actually really, really funny. It was really good. So I have it on my Facebook page. The other one was kind of funny. Again, it's a political slam from SNL, but it was actually really funny. And it's called The Day Beyonce Turned Black. Now, Beyonce obviously is black, but, the way she presents herself, the joke was she presents herself as being a white woman. So when she actually does something that is more of a black person, in her music, people aren't, they don't realize that, hey, this lady's black. They thought she was white because she presents herself as a white woman. So again, it was really funny. I mean, some skits they do, I think it's just an accident. They don't mean it to be funny. I think they do it out of sarcasm, but it ends up being funny and it backfires on them, so to speak. So I just wanted to point that out. It's on my Facebook page, too. I got some other funny stuff, too. I'm going to have a difficult time. I'm hearing some background stuff again. They don't realize it picks up on my mic. So I'm going to read my last. I have two more stories, and I will actually fit in just slightly below an hour, which is perfect. The door keeps on slamming, and I can hear it on my thing. They don't realize it. One funny story was from the New York Post, and I will try to read this the best I can with no more distractions, which I doubt will happen. Story is titled, "My Sex Doll is So Much Better Than My Real Wife." So definitely check out that story. It's definitely entertaining. They show this guy who goes around with an Asian guy with his Asian love doll. And he seems like and takes her out in public, his sex doll, and has more of an interest in love life. He actually, I'm looking at these pictures. He's got one. He's got her on a surfboard. Let's see. There's another one in the park where he's like caressing her. I mean, these are hilarious. Yeah. But the funny thing is, this guy looks like he's got 3 love dolls. So they're not cheap. The guy who owns these love dolls is 62 years old, and they're all like young-looking girls. Not like kids, but they're like 20-some-year-old love dolls. But he seems to have more of a romantic life with these love dolls than he does, apparently, because I'm kind of just glancing over it. It might be different stories of different men with their wives. I don't know. But it's pretty funny. Again, it says the story was originally published by The Sun, so if you're interested. But you can find it on the New York Post, and it was dated June 30th. It was just funny. I wanted to throw it in there. Again, I got plenty of stories I could kind of read off, but I won't. So I'm gonna give you a break. It's, you have better things to do than listen to my voice. Most people don't, so that's actually even better for them. And one last story I want to read. This was funny. It's another Asian story, but hey, it's right in my alley. And also from the New York Post. China. It says China's take on the Miss Bum contest. Bum meaning ass contest. So they have a contest that an Asian contest on women's heinies, women's butts. June 27th, 2017. The story was published. Ladies from all over China gathered to participate in a shopping mall in Shanghai, or is it Shanghai, to compete in the Women's Beauty Buttocks series. The ladies show off their curves and assets, no puns intended, all puns intended, to a crowd of visitors and judge in fashion similar to the Miss Bum competition held annually in Brazil. So I guess Brazil has one where they have an ass contest or an asset contest, an ass contest. So China has their own, and I'll tell you, they're not that bad looking either. The bottoms of these women. I just think it's kind of funny. Okay, yeah, there is 18 photos, and these guys taking photos, because generally in our country, women are very uptight about showing off their buttocks. But apparently in Brazil, in Asia, that is not a problem, because they actually have a contest of the ladies showing off their butts proudly in thongs. I need to move to Asia very quickly. I would have a field day with that too. Anyway, I will let my stories go for tonight, and I successfully, for once, have actually cut it under 50 minutes, under an hour. That is unbelievable for me. So everyone, have a good 4th of July. I hope you enjoyed my show. And I will be back eventually. I just never know when. So have a good one. This is iWalter signing off for now on this July 4th of 2017. Thanks again.